Hello there, my name is Andrew Mercadante, and today I'm going to address the question of how to best determine the population size of mountain gorillas living in the Virunga Massif and Bwindi Impenetrable National Park. So let's talk about why it's difficult to determine the population size of mountain gorillas. Well, since mountain gorillas occur in small populations, traditional sampling methods aren't appropriate because the variance in the confidence intervals they generate would likely exceed 10% of the total population. This is important because we wouldn't be able to tell if the population is increasing or decreasing between sampling occasions. So that really just leaves us with censuses to determine population size. Now, since gorillas are elusive, these censuses often have to rely on counts of field signs like night nests to determine population size. This often leads to occasions of double counting individuals and a general overestimation of their population size. So over the course of this presentation, I'm going to review the available techniques and offer a recommendation to this problem of overestimation. The first census technique we'll talk about is the complete sweep method. Now this involves using teams of multiple individuals to systematically work across a study area along networks of trails searching for gorilla sign. Now once a fresh nest site has been found, this is typically less than 3 days old, the researchers count the number of night nests, the size and number of dung, and the presence of silver hair to determine the number, sex, and age of individuals. Now, the strengths of this method include how cheap it is to implement and the fact that your survey effort is quite intense and it's systematic. The weaknesses are that it relies on the assumption that one individual lays only one night nest, but literature has proven this assumption is often violated. Also, since there's only one survey effort, some gorillas could go undetected and you have no measure of precision or variability for your population size. Also, this method doesn't provide any information on the genetic structure of the populations or the social dynamics of the groups. Now, this figure on the right here is just an example of the data that you would get from a complete sweep method census. So the next method is the complete sweep method discussed before with a genetic analysis component included. And I had a video to show you, but unfortunately I had some technical difficulties. So I've just decided to include that video link in the acknowledgements portion of this presentation. So instead, I'll just describe the method to you. So yeah, it's exactly the same, except when they find the nest site, they then look for dung piles and then they collect genetic data from those dung piles. They collect samples, they send it off to a lab, they get analysis. And so what this allows them to do is genotype individuals, and this can help correct for instances of double counting or undercounting individuals, which is a great strength. Another nice thing about this genetic analysis is that you gain information on the genetic structure of these populations in case you're interested in things like paternity and relatedness. So some disadvantages of this method is that it's still one survey, so you're going to have the same issue of undetected individuals, and also it can be expensive, so PCR and genotyping large numbers of individuals could be prohibitive in some cases. And finally, the effectiveness of this technique is tied to the quality and quantity of DNA extracted from the gorilla feces. So unlike the previous techniques, genetic mark recapture conducts multiple sweeps across a habitat over a short time frame and then fits that data to a series of closed mark recapture models using AIC criteria to select the best fit model. Now, by conducting multiple sweeps, this method introduces variability and a measure of precision, while also reducing bias introduced by individuals that would have went undetected in a single survey effort. Another strength of this method is the fact that it can be modified into a Pollock's robust design in case you're interested in quantifying rates of mortality or immigration among social groups. Some disadvantages of this method are that, based off the paper I read, it took roughly 4 survey sweeps to get a good AIC scores, and also the number of surveys needed to get good AIC scores was highly dependent on the parameterization of capture probabilities in each of those closed mark recapture models. So the figure on the right here is a visualization of how multiple sweeps are conducted over time. While I personally believe that genetic mark recapture represents the future of estimating mountain gorilla population size, the complete sweep method with the genetic analysis component included is simply more consistent and remains the best technique currently available, and so that is what I would recommend for continuing to determine population size of mountain gorillas. So this is my slide with all my references, and I've included the YouTube link to the video that I was going to show you guys. Check it out, it's pretty cool. Thank you all so much for watching, and I look forward to reading and responding to your comments.